the court supposed to believe? Are they supposed to take the letter written to the DG? Are they supposed to listen to the lawyers' letters? Wedding, what wedding is it going to happen?
The court is going to rely heavily on the affidavit that has been filed by the king. Remember, the letter is not written under oath, however, the affidavit is. So when assessing this particular matter, the presiding officer is going to be the judge today, is going to say, what have you written in the response to the allegations that have been made to you? Did you make out a case in terms of the lack of agency, if there is none if there's lack of agency? Did you touch on the merits of the matter as to whether there's going to be a wedding or not? And on that basis is what I'm going to base my assessment on and the decision of this matter on. So firstly, agency. Then secondly, should I grant this interim order so that we are able to protect the rights of all parties?
Is it fair then to say, Mr. Zikalala, that what we hear in court is likely what will be binding on the king? In other words, if he tells this court that I won't have a wedding and I'll only have a wedding once my divorce is finalized, this is something that he will also be bound to, and therefore this weekend we shouldn't be seeing any wedding taking place in Jozini and Ngcobo.
Yeah, definitely. Remember, once you stated anything under oath, if you break that or you say something which is contradictory or do something which is contradictory in another space, you are going to be in contempt. One, if there's an order that has been issued. However, you're going to commit perjury, which is a common law crime. And I don't think the king would like to see himself within a perjury case that will have to answer to. So if it's going to say something on affidavits, say something under oath, definitely that particular statement must be kept. Would be a comforting factor from the side of the Queen, because all that she wants is to say, before you do anything else, make sure that you get the divorce done and through, and then only then you can continue and do whatever that you like. So if there's that part of her session which is written there, even the judge is going to say, what else are you looking for? Because indirectly you've been given the assurance of why you came to court in the first place. Anything else would be maybe asking for something which is extra. But for now, you've had the assurance from the person that is a vested interest in the matter, saying that I'm not going to do anything up until the divorce proceedings are through.
Let's clarify something, because as we know, with this particular queen, they are married, they are in a civil marriage and in community of property. However, there's lots of arguments about customary law. Is there an argument that can be made by the king to say, well, these two ceremonies are not necessarily a complete traditional wedding as per customary law? It's just, some of the stages in a marriage as per, Zulu traditional customs, and therefore the queen who's brought this urgent interdict might have jumped the gun and there is no wedding on the basis of those technicalities.
Yes, they can definitely come with that argument and say, remember what the Act says. It said that marriage must be negotiated, entered into and celebrated in accordance with customary law and customs. So if my customs, for example, have 10 parts of it and I'm only doing part 7 of 10, it means that I have not completed the process. Even if I do hold these two events which are going to take place in the next few days, I'm not going to be able to go to Home Affairs and register that particular marriage. But what it will do, because I do not want to have a vacuum in any of the processes, is that even after the divorce proceedings are through, then there can be, for example, umabo, which will in some instances is considered as the last step in the consummation of a marriage. And only then I will be able to go and register that marriage. So if I'm being accused of being married now, or by committing or attending these two events, I'm married, then they are completely wrong. And that it could be an argument in which could be raised, because if you look at how the Act has been written, it offers liberty. It does not provide a rigid way of saying that if you want to get married in this particular law, these are the following things that must be done. Unlike under the Civil Marriages Act, which is very clear, if you have the husband, if the male and the female, there's a marriage officer. Once that proceedings have been done and dusted, then you have a marriage that can be registered. However, within the customary law basis, there are a number of steps that will be there. There will be umembeso, there will be lobol, there will be ingabamason, there will be umkehlo, all the other things that are there. There will be umabo, and it depends on the people that are negotiating. Hence why those lobola negotiations are important, to say, when are we going to consider these two individuals that we are discussing married? And it's only then in which, after that last event has taken place, they can then go to Home Affairs and register their marriage. So in this case, the king may come back and say in his papers, well, we're not there yet. Yes, the intention is there, but we're not there yet. But I've signaled my intention by filing the divorce to say, this is what I want to do, when I'm already started the process of doing it. But it doesn't mean that by the end of maybe the 28th or 29th of January, I would be a married individual.